91. Let's go. Okay, we're getting closer. Tiger Woods, when he swings down in his downswing, he's creating about 100 pounds of force in this direction. He needs to create 100 pounds of force in this direction to counterbalance it. Turn aggressively. There you go. L. There you go. Really nicely, you're rotating your body a heck of a lot better. Your right arm is a way better piston in comparison to what you're doing before.
大家好，又来请教高人了。上一次刚刚解锁了开球300码，今天重点关注铁杆。我的铁杆一直有提前释放 early release 的问题，就是下杆比较早的就掉了杆头，然后只能靠翻手腕才能打到球，这样就很不稳定。我相信看视频的你也都或多或少的会有这个问题。所以今天我就来见 Swing Catalyst 在温哥华的负责人，他不仅仅是生物力学的专家，同时还是加拿大 PGA 的职业教练，可以综合地面反作用力和高尔夫的基本动作要领来指导我的铁杆。咱们今天还是定一个不切实际的目标，我的七铁要达到94的挥速、130的球速以及191的 carry 飞行距离。这个已经基本上是美巡赛6铁的平均数据了。那取乎其上，得乎其中，万一实现了呢？好，我们欢迎生物力学专家、职业 PGA 教练 Patrick Lago。Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Thank you for having me here and welcome to the channel.
Oh, thank you very much.
As I was introducing you to the audience, you are both an expert on biomechanics and a professional golf instructor. So why don't we start with, in a nutshell, what is the, so to speak, textbook golf swing sequence that can generate the effortless power efficiently, especially on irons, to be able to really compress the ball like a pro?
Yeah, so the general sequencing we want to have is creating the right amount of force through the ground so it feeds up the chain in our body. So most people, the starting point is we want to make sure we have a good solid foundation with our setup position, getting ourselves in a really athletic state so we can create forces in the ground. Then we want to make sure at the top of the backswing we stay in this kind of balanced athletic state and create the right sequence. So a lot of people have the kinematic sequence correct, which is their understanding of, okay, our body needs to shift, we need to turn, and then the hands and arms go. But the key thing is understanding that kinetics, the forces we produce, needs to happen first. And then we create motion. So forces have to supersede motion. And so with that, we want to create a horizontal shift, moving pressure to our lead side. We want to then create rotational torque. And while that's happening, we then create vertical force. So we have horizontal, rotational, vertical. And those are the proper ground reaction force sequences we want to see. And we see that very consistently with all the top golfers in the world. So if we can see if there's any issues that might be happening with yourself, you tend to release the club early. So we're most likely going to see your motion happening before your forces. And so what we want to do is then work on that and get your forces happening before motion. Therefore, we're going to see the energy you put into the ground, be able to then feed up the chain to help you create more club head speed, a more efficient delivery, and stay more balanced while you're swinging to create more repeatable contact and help you hit it straighter and farther.
Yeah, cool. Really looking forward to it.
Awesome.
And my goal for today is 94 club speed, 130 ball speed, 190 carry with my 7-iron.
Challenge accepted.
So don't say it's impossible, please.
Oh yeah, we'll try our best. Sounds
Okay,
like
cool.
fun.
Yeah, let's get started.
All right, sounds good.
球友们，尤其是在温哥华附近的，想找 Patrick Lago 教练上课的话，可以在视频下面留言，或者直接搜索教练的地址和联系方式。记得去上课的时候提一下老衲的视频，能帮助我以后有更多的机会给大家拍摄类似的内容。好，回到视频，看看我能否实现这个不切实际的7铁目标。A long way to go. Probably already see some massive early release.
Oh, I've seen way earlier, don't worry.
Okay.
All right, so let's look at your club data. So I like to look at like what the club and ball is doing, and then we look at the swing to see what might be causing that information. And so we just have those these shots right here. So you're swinging relatively fast. You got 86 miles per hour. Angle of attack down is decent. Club path slightly into out. A little bit of soldier golf where you're playing left, right, left. So the club face a little bit closed, club face a little bit open, but all in all, generally a little bit of a draw, which is not too bad. Lie angle's decent. Loft delivery's okay. So all in all, not too shabby in regards to the overall motion. Angle of attack, we probably want to see a tiny bit more down. Generally, when we look at foresight launch monitors, we want to see the angle of attack with your 7-iron, especially if we're trying to get more compression and more flight. We'd ideally want to see like 5 degrees down, even a little tiny bit more is perfectly fine. But we'll see what your launch angle is. So you do have, when you hit it okay, like you launched at 15, 17, tour average is 16 degrees with a launch angle. So it's not bad, but when you hit your best shots, hitting it like 157, 156, your launch angle is a little high at 19 degrees. So tour average is 16, you're launching a little high, you get great backspin on the golf ball, which is lovely. The key thing you want to do is see that launch just a little bit lower, so creating a little bit more forward shaft lean, better compression going through. And then we'll do everything we can to create a little more club head speed for you to make it a little bit easier.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's the main thing that we see. So launching it a little high, which makes sense. Angle of attack a little bit less down, which makes sense with an early release. So we'll check out your swing here. And as I kind of touch base a little bit, like most early releases, we see the motion happening before the forces. And so this is your horizontal force with both feet. What I want to look at is just your trail foot, so your right foot. So that's just the right plate here. And we look at yourself as you're reaching the top of your backswing and starting your transition. We're creating a little bit of a rounding effect and not really a spike with the right foot. And you can see how it actually spikes after the top of your backswing. The reason why that's happening is because you have all the pressure on the exterior or the outside of your right foot. So ideally you want basically like a triangle of force in the ground with our right foot. So we want it on the heel, the outside, but also on the big toe as well. So we want those 3 points of pressure on the ground. Where you can see you just have 2. You have the outside and your heel. So ideally you want to get that right foot a little bit more athletic, a little bit more stable, connected to the ground. And then you'll see your peak horizontal force, which is right there. We're now starting to see you getting at least a little bit of pressure on the inside of the right foot, so it's a little bit more planted, and that's where you start to create a little bit more of that horizontal force going forward. Problem is that your hands and arms go down first, and then we start seeing that spike, and then so that's where we start to see the unhinging of your wrists a little tiny bit early. I've seen way worse, so it's not terrible. But at the same point, there's a little bit of more of the shaft kind of straight up and straight down through impact. There's definitely a lack of rotation happening here, and that has a lot to do with this horizontal force, because we're not getting the weight as quickly over to your left side, and then your rotation's a little bit delayed because of it. And so we actually see your arms kind of pulling in a little bit here rather than pushing out. And then the whip and the throw going through because of that. Slightly inefficient. So you're doing a great job. Your swing's lovely. It's just the slightly early with the hands and arms. Not super balanced up at the top of the backswing, so the forces don't happen as efficiently. And then so that causes you a little bit of that inconsistency to happen, and then the early release. And so the tendency to maybe skim the ground a little bit before the ball, kind of scooping upward, you know, and obviously that higher trajectory and less of an angle of attack downward. So let's have some fun and get you dialed in. The main thing we're gonna do might strengthen your left hand grip just a hair. Ball position does look a little tiny bit back. Generally we want the ball slightly forward of center with a 7-iron. So with the ball kind of, you can see like back middle, we're gonna probably move it a couple inches more further forward and then release the club a little bit later. So getting you to kind of flight it and compress it a little bit better. Yeah, then we'll get you kind of releasing the club a little more efficiently and not having the arms pull in. The main thing we want to see for yourself is getting that balanced athletic state and then shifting and turning a little bit better and getting the horizontal force, this purple graph spiking a little sooner. And then hopefully being able to see you create a little bit more of a spike in vertical force, because vertical force is kind of like the engine to create the most amount of speed. So the more vertical force we can create, the more power we can produce. That being said, we are going to change some things in regard to your overall technique.
Okay.
And I'm just going to change your concept of what you think how to create speed.
Yeah, that's the key actually.
Yeah,
I think I have some misunderstanding.
Yeah, no worries. So first thing we're going to do is touch base on how to create speed in the golf swing. So our hands are the only connection to the golf club. So what we want to be able to do is create as much force against this handle to create as much speed as power. Or as much power as we can to create speed. So the forces and torques we create on this handle are everything. So first thing that we want to do is we need to understand that we actually need a loose hinge. And what I simply mean by that is that I want your lead arm to be as soft and as loose as physically possible. And what I mean by that is allowing for this to swing, allowing for the club to be able to go from a letter L position here and let it drop and swing to a letter L here. What that means is your shoulder needs to be in a fairly relaxed state, your tricep, your bicep, your forearm need to be in a somewhat of a relaxed state, kind of like you're going to throw a frisbee. You're going to kind of just toss something away. So that type of feeling is what we're looking for, because we want a loose hinge, like a well-oiled hinge. And then from that, we want to create an immense amount of force kind of backing up on the handle. And the way we're going to do that is use our bigger muscles, our foot, our knee, our hip, and our shoulder. So if I have this loose hinge, and then I allow for myself to be able to, kind of like if you're back in the day, if you ever had a gas lawnmower, you have to go like this and you crank the lawnmower. What we're trying to do is not use our elbow and our arm, but actually just use our big joints, our shoulder, hip, and knee, and turn and rotate back. What this does is this gets my body whoosh, turning and facing my target very quickly. So what that also does is creates an immense amount of force against this handle upward. That's actually the vertical force that we're looking for. So we need the force to feed up the chain. And so if I'm just loosey-goosey with this, get this rotation, and then I quickly just like pull the gas cord and do that lawnmower feeling, I can create an immense amount of velocity with minimal amount of effort. That's one part of it. Then we have our right hand, which is actually kind of like a piston, like an engine to be able to push out. So if I allow for that rotation and that release, and then I allow for myself just to simply push aggressively with my right side, I can create an immense amount of velocity with pretty minimal amount of effort. And that's what we're going to try to get you to do. Now there is, how we use the ground is really important in this, and so we want to just make sure we're in a kind of balanced athletic state to be able to create these forces. We'll touch base if we're kind of getting out of position, things that we can do or drills that you can do to make it a little bit easier. But the main thing we got to do is we need to get you softer and looser to create more speed and create more what we call angular momentum. So that's where we want to allow for the forces to kind of just do the work for us. So if I'm just loose with this, not really doing much with my hand and arm, and I just rotate, that's what creates all that speed. So we're going to work on getting that for you.
Okay, cool.
So first thing we're going to do, awesome, is just grip on with this hand, and we're going to hinge. So that's a lot of rust in this hinge. There's a lot of tension.
I see.
Looser.
Okay.
Oh, looser.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Now keep that loose. There you go. There's a loose hinge.
I feel like I'm losing the club.
Perfect. Well, you know the funny thing is, here, let go. The grip is tapered. It goes from narrow to fat. So as long as this circle doesn't change, pull as hard as you want to. Oh, no, down, pull down. It's hard. Oh, no, hard. Okay, now I have 2 fingers. Oh, don't let go. So 2 fingers, pull as hard as you want to. That's not going anywhere.
Okay.
So you don't need to grip tight. You just don't need to open your hand. So as long as we're loose and we don't open our hand, this club will never fly out. Okay. So that right there is a misconception that you need to hold on to it to swing. Well, now you're creating a lot of rust in that hinge. We need to let that be a loose, well-oiled hinge. So you're on, there's a lot of force we create against the handle. There's a lot of pressure that we create against it, but we need to allow for it to let it go. And the key thing is if you're gripping tight, you're now creating that rust in your forearm, your shoulder. Now that well-oiled hinge just becomes a little rusty, and then it doesn't allow for us to create speed.
Okay.
So first thing I want you to do is here, loose. Now watch what happens. Just keep it loose. See how it didn't fly out of your hand? Right? So I pull, it's not going anywhere.
Okay.
So the key thing I want you to do is keep it loose, even a little looser. There you go. Now watch what happens when I just create a little bit of force. See how that whipped around? That's what we're looking for that speed, is just letting it release through. Now your forearm's freely rotated, the club feels like it's swinging, and that's what we're looking for.
Okay.
I'm gonna have you focus on that first.
Okay.
That looseness, and then we're gonna focus now on your right side.
Okay.
We'll worry about the pulling the cranking the cord in just a moment.
Sure.
Now your right side, I want you a little bit wider stance, and now what we need to do is create an immense amount of pushing force with our right side. It's going to be mainly our shoulder, hip, and knee, but we're also our arm's going to help out with delivering that force to the handle. So what I want you to do is get your arm like this, just a pushing position. Now, what we're going to do is touch base on what your arm needs to do, which is going to be a piston. So it's going to push out, but while it's pushing out, your wrist is also going to flatten. So it's basically going to turn into like a steel rod pushing forward. So we're going to go bent. Now push. Oh no, no, push hard. Good, there. Now way harder and faster. Good, way harder and faster.
I feel like I have to do this.
No, just that.
Okay,
Push.
just the hands.
Yep. Good, now harder and faster. Good, and again. See how your arm just snapped out like that? That's your piston. That's a pushing force that you can create against the handle, and that can kick down really fast.
Okay.
Now you have a loose, well-oiled hinge, and that pushes, that's going to let it whip through rather than being super tight and tense.
Okay.
Okay? That's really important for us to create speed.
Okay.
Now the key thing I want you to do is I want you to do that, but also turn and push. So here, resist me first. Now I'm going to use just my big joints, not doing anything with my arm, and then push. So that's the key thing I want you to do. So I want you to move shoulder, hip, knee, and push. Oh no, hip, knee also, so like this. Bingo, there you go, and then push. Bingo, very nice. Now we're going to combine loose hinge and that piston. So what you're going to do is grip on. First thing you're going to do is loosey-goosey. Get yourself a little more wider, a little more athletic. Good. A little nice and loose. Now put your right hand on, but don't do anything. I'll keep it loose. Good. And then put your right hand on it though. A little further down. Right. Good. But loose. Keep it really loose. Even looser. There you go. And then now from here, see how your right arm's bent? So then from there, we're going to turn, crank, and then push and let it go. So it's the looseness is really, really important with this. So all I want you to do is here, loose. Stay a little more centered because you're kind of leaning back a little. So like that. Looser. Good. And then from here, feel a little more athletic. Turn that right side, shoulder, hip, knee, and then push out and let it whip around.
Okay.
So now let's try that again. So here, loose. There you go, loosey-goosey. And then whenever you're ready, turn and push. Good, try to sequence it. That was a little rushed with the transition, so if I had to feel like a little smoother.
Okay.
And then turn and push aggressively. Good, and then turn and push. Closer, and try to sync it up a little bit more. So I want you to go like this, and then now turn, yep, and then don't try to get too tight, just simply turn, push.
Okay.
Like snap that arm out, but let your rotation happen as well. So let's do it again. There, push, good. There, push. There you go, now try that again. Ooh. Make it push that hard, that aggressive with your, not just your arm, but your whole right side. Should move together. Very nice. Now I want you to feel more stable.
Okay.
Okay, more athletic, and do that same feeling. Not bad. And that's where we want to be able to then create that braking force and that stopping power to allow for you to create a little bit more speed. But now you want to see like how you're releasing the club before. You're releasing a little bit early.
Yeah.
Well, now with this softness, you're not actually releasing early at all. You're actually releasing too late.
Oh.
So we're actually now allowing for yourself to like, you have a choice of when you're going to release your energy.
Okay.
Right? Where before you just kind of were firing your hands and arms right away.
Yeah.
And so now with this one, we're going to see yourself actually creating that horizontal force, rotational torque, and then vertical force at the right time. Like that turn and push, but not just like that, like it should sync up where your shoulder, hip, and knee. There you go.
Okay.
We want to get our mass on our left side. Okay, we need to actually, because then we get our weight onto our lead side and rotate.
Okay.
It's just, if we're starting there, that's not good. We want to get ourselves there.
Sure, sure.
And so there's an unweighting that we do. So that was actually one thing you kind of touched base on is, like, when do we unweight? What is the right timing?
Right.
And that's actually the transition.
Okay.
So when we get up to the top of the backswing, we want to unweight our lead side. And if I was going to punch, I'm going to throw a hockey shot, tennis, basketball, even kicking a soccer ball. There's a point where we unweight our lead side so that we can get mass there quickly. That's what the unweighting is. It's so that we can move mass from our trail side to our lead side very quickly. So unweighting is that. It's I've unweighted my lead foot. So if you throw a ball, like watch a fastball pitcher, what does his lead foot do at the top of his throw? It's way off the ground, and then because it's off the ground, he can move mass quickly from his trail side to his lead side. And then because it's moving so quickly, he's able to hit the brakes. Braking force, if I was going to punch really hard, I'm gonna go like this. And so that lead foot, there, right there. See what you just did with your lead foot?
Yeah.
And then what happens? You stop. That stop, actually, your vertical force just spiked. Just by you doing that, that's creating an immense amount of force in the ground that can then feed up the chain. So that's the horizontal and then braking. And that's where for you, like that's why I want you to do the piston, is because when you do that, you're actually cranking your left side back around and then be able to throw it away from your body. Bingo. So now, try to create that nice and fluid, not too jerky, but more like a fluid motion, kind of like a throw or a punch. Awesome, very nice. Okay, now the next step, then we've kind of touched base on this, what we saw with your video, is your arms kind of pull in, right? So that's a counterbalancing movement. So what that basically means is that your balance isn't great while you're swinging. So we do things subconsciously so we don't fall over. So when we're swinging and we move that mass quickly to our lead side, we then need to rotate. And this is where that pulling of the lawnmower effect, like that we're kind of touching base on, or a chainsaw, getting that rotation creates your counterbalancing force. Okay, so I'm gonna have you feel what that's like. And then what that'll then allow for you to do is be able to throw the club aggressively away from you rather than having to pull in. So a lot of people do either out to inward, early extension, or pulling in. All three of those things happen as a counterbalancing movement. So what we want to be able to do is create as much force backing up in that direction so you can create as much force in this direction.
Okay.
And we want them to balance themselves out. So Tiger Woods, when he swings down in his downswing, he's creating about 100 pounds of force in this direction. He needs to create 100 pounds of force in this direction to counterbalance it. And so what we need to do is do the same thing. What you're counterbalancing with is the arms pulling in rather than rotation. That's why we don't see you turn very well through impact, where we need to get that rotation. So go ahead and widen your stance a whole bunch. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna grip onto the club just like this, okay? Now, I'm gonna pretend like I just fell off a cliff and you need to save me. Okay, but we're only allowed to use your left arm. Okay. So first thing I want you to do is move your mass to your left side, because that's gonna feel powerful for your left side. Okay. And then from here, I don't want you to use your elbow, don't want to use your hand at all. It's more your big joints, your shoulder, hip, and knee. And what you want to do is turn and pull like this. And now do that super efficiently and try to pull me up. And not like jerky, but just like aggressively. Good, now there you go. Now harder, do that again. And a little more jerky, so quick. Good, very nice. And a little more relaxed with the arm. Now turn aggressively. There you go, oh, there you go. So that, your vertical force would have spiked like crazy. Okay. Also, your braking force would be very abrupt. That just pulled on the handle immensely upward. Now, the key thing you want to do is if you have that loose hinge and then do that rotation, this thing is going to whip faster than you've ever felt it before. Okay, so now let's try it. So now we're going to go loosey, oh no, loose. And then we want to get your weight onto your left side and then do that rotation. So we're going to go loose. And then keep yourself more centered though. And then, oh no, just body more centered. There you go.
Oh, like this.
Move your weight there and then do that rotation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just that.
At the same time.
Yeah, bingo. So now this loosey-goosey, all way looser, even looser.
Oh, okay.
So I want the L to L. There you go, good. And then whenever you're ready, go ahead and do that turn. Okay. Yeah, and then just pull the handle.
Like this, okay.
Yeah, bingo. Very nice. Now try to stay a little taller and do that same thing. Good, and then turn. Oh, close down. You should be balanced though. We shouldn't be falling over. Okay. So it should just be like that. Bingo.
Okay.
Okay, so now let's go loose. Okay, loose, good. Now turn. Whoa, that was with one arm. So now imagine doing that looseness. And then now with that, you also push. And I don't want you to dance at like lose your balance. So we want to be nice and stable. But let's grip on now both hands. We're now going to do loose. Good. And then we're just going to move your mass there and then crank. Nope, not that way. That way.
Oh.
Right? Cranking on that handle.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, way looser. And you're just going to push and turn. Very nice. But don't pull in. Let it go out. Bingo. Whew. Better, but still not quite the push. Out. So grip on the club.
So the right hand issue?
Yeah, so we need to push out like this, but then combine. Oh no, not. So we're not pulling this way backwards. We're just turning around. So very simply, yeah, there you go. Nothing back here.
Okay.
Okay, just simply backing up in that direction. Yep, and then let your arms go out here. Good, now feel way more balanced. Do that again for me. Do it on your own. I'm just going to push you from behind. See, I can push you over. That's not balanced. Your mass needs to go this way abruptly, so I can't push you over. Better. Now loosen your arms. Get yourself way more athletic, bud. Okay. Like you're set up. You're super unathletic. So hips back, knees bent. Okay, I'm going to push you. I shouldn't be able to push you over.
Okay.
Okay, now ready? Push. Turn and push.
Okay.
Ready?
Sorry.
Fire. Good. Very nice.
I don't want to hate you.
No, that's all right. No, don't worry. You won't. Now you gotta be way more center. You're kind of like tilting and getting out of position. It's just this. Keep your head nice and steady. And now turn. Good. Okay, widen your stance though. Give yourself a stable base. Good. Now turn. Good. And then throw more out and away from you. Good. And the rotation actually throws your arms away. Yeah. So with this guy, we're going to use a 3-pound weight. All I want you to do is do this. So this is a little bit of an in to outward swing. But all we're just doing is letting the weight swing our arm. And then from here, all I'm going to do is that rotation. And so when I do that, this weight swings away from me. And what you'll actually notice is when I go through like that, so it's there and then turn, my hand, arm, and chest move together. I'm not doing this where it's all the way over here. So that's my arm propelling. This is my body propelling my arm. Okay. And so that's what we're looking for. Okay, so now give that a try. And just let it relax. Let it just dangle there. Good. And then just let it swing. No rotation. But just swing that way. Into out. And then from there we turn. Turn. There. Okay. Face your target quickly. What should happen is angular momentum. That should whip your arm around really quickly because your rotation is creating the force into that weight. Very nice. Good job. Good. Now do that with your right hand. So right hand, same thing, going in this direction, kind of like you're throwing it. And then now just turn the right side through. You should feel that whip and propulsion as well.
Yeah.
Perfect. Good. Now we're going to put both hands on. We're going to do that loose feeling. Widen the stance a little bit. Good. And then you're going to do that same looseness with your arms though. Then you're going to let them just swing out in this direction and then turn. Good, but that should be way faster. Try not to be tight. Okay, good. Now I need you to be in a way more athletic state. Okay. So what I'm going to get you to do is we're going to stand on these balance pods to get you in a more athletic state so that you can create more force into the ground. So what we're looking for with these is we're going to put our middle arch of our feet right on top like this and get yourself stable. Okay. This gets you into a balanced state. Won't feel balance on these, but you're going to be in a very balanced state. Then we're going to swing back, staying balanced. Okay, we're not going to swing down, but we're just going to feel that balanced state in our setup position. Main thing here for us is just that balanced state. Let the arms hang. Now swing up to the top and stop. So right there, you're not really in an athletic state. See how your heels touching the ground? So you need to be way more stable. Good, there you go. Now swing back and stop. Now I need you to try to turn a little bit more, but staying in that balanced state. Good. Now let's do that again. Good. And one more time. Nice. Oh, dancing a little bit. See how you're losing your balance? Try to stay more stable. Good. Okay, now let's hop off the pods. And I want you to pretend like you're on them when you swing back. So that's going to give you that balanced and athletic position so we can create that force and torque with the ground and create a lot of speed. Right there, you have a lot of pressure on your toes. I'm going to give you a little push so I can push you over. So you need to be a little bit, there you go. So now you're on the balance pods. Okay, good. Let's do that again. Now we're just going to do a short little 3/4 swing so you're feeling like you're on the pods in here. And then we're going to turn and whip it through. So loose, nope, looser. Good, there you go. And now little 3/4 swing, turn and push. Ready, go. Close. So now that one, when you started down, it was arms and then turning. I want it to be together. So you feel like your hands, arms, and body are swinging just like you're swinging that weighted object, that golf or that dumbbell. Better. Okay, let's do it again. Very nice. Let's do that one more time so I can show you the massive improvement. So now we watch yourself from the top of the backswing and we get yourself to what would be impact. You can see the rotation with your body here, non-existent. Here we're starting to see a two-cheek position, left leg underneath the right. Now you didn't quite get fully off of that right foot. So ideally what we want is to get your mass even more over to your left side. So like this wall right here, I need your left hip, left shoulder up against that wall. So you did that pretty well here. This one, you're just kind of hanging back a little bit. So I actually want you to get even more weight over to your left side as you're swinging down. So we kind of want to like body check this wall and then turn and rotate. So really nicely, you're rotating your body a heck of a lot better. Your right arm is a way better piston in comparison to what you're doing before. You can see your hands over top of your trail leg. We have over a 90-degree angle with your right forearm in the golf club, where with your swing before, you're casting a little bit early. And so we're getting that release going through really nicely. The one thing I love to see is this motion right here where you're allowing your back of your hand to face forward and then releasing through very quickly and abruptly. So the way we can see this is by the time your hands get chest height, the end of the grip's pointing a little bit more downward. And then we see this beautiful rotation with your body. So you can see with your one on the left, from the downline view, it's really tight and kind of tense, where this one you're letting it just kind of turn and swing. So it's a much better job of maintaining your spine angle and your rotational axis in that process as well. So you'll see that right there. Where this one you can see you're kind of scrunched over a little bit, where here you're able to maintain your posture a lot better, let it swing. Key thing you got to do is get the sequencing down, because you tend to like fire really quickly rather than like that kid on a swing feeling where it goes up and then we're releasing that energy. But I need you to get more over to your left side. Get your weight onto that left foot quickly. I'm not sure if Dr. Scott Lynn made you do a step drill at all. Like, you know, so kind of similar to Kyle Berkshire, but what we're looking for is at the top of the backswing is an unweighting of the left foot. So the step drill that he does is it goes feet together, swing back, step, but then you step and go forward. So the unweighting part that we want is when we swing up to the top of the backswing, we unweight that lead foot so that then we can move our mass quickly. And then what you want to feel is like you're body checking this wall. So if you go ahead and swing back up to the like halfway back, okay, well, no, more athletic. There you go, good. And then now from here, I want you to like lift your left foot and then body check me. Good, and yeah, not just hip, also shoulder.
Okay,
so now back, and then lift, body check, good. So there you just moved your mass very quickly, and then that's where you stop and turn and kind of create that rotation. Let's try to combine the looseness, that turn and push with that little bit of that feeling. Yeah, and a little lift up, body check. Very good, now way faster turn.
way faster.
Yeah. Cool, there you go. Now we're gonna do a very simple drill.
Okay. Are you still positive about the goal?
Oh, I am. No, actually, I am positive. It's just your sequencing is off.
Okay.
Right? And so that one, your sequencing was much better. This doesn't move very much.
Okay.
Right? Like this, like no, doesn't move at all. Like it's like this. It's not. It's not a lot of tilt. It's just. Yeah, and keeping this in the same, nothing back. Like you don't need to try to lean back. It's much more just being stacked and being centered. There you go, perfect. Now, your challenge, hit this tee.
Okay.
First off, we're just going to get that nice wide stable base, feeling athletic, good. And then from here, all we're going to do is just that little L to L, all looser. And when you do that, you should be able to brush that tee every time, because it's kind of like a little bit of a pickup and then letting it drop and release through.
Okay.
So your job is to try to be able to let it drop and hit the tee by being softer and looser. There you go. Good. And then now from that, just turn and then turn and whip it through. Oh, close. That was fast. Good. And then turn and push. Oh, very nice. Now, you're gonna do that one more time. Now, the biggest thing I can't have you do is think, okay? The reason why is because I don't want you to think about your old swing. I just want you to feel the exact same motion. So what we're gonna do is give you a maximum of 3 seconds from when you do that good swing, we're turning, whipping through and releasing. And I'm gonna put the ball down and I'm gonna say 3, 2, 1, go. Now, I don't want you just to fire everything out of your cylinders and going really quick. I just want you to feel the same motion, like that smoothness, that looseness, that really good turn and propel and letting it go. I could care less about contact, where the ball goes. I just need you to not think and just feel the same motion that you just did, because that's what we want to do. We want to bridge the gap. Good. Now, the looseness, the balance, and then turn and let it go. Good. Now, 3, 2, 1. No, that was tight. Okay. Now, you got to be looser, same feeling. So let's do that again. Okay, now turn and let her go. Awesome. Now, 3, 2, 1. You'll get athletic. Loosey-goosey. Now go. Oh, close. A little toey, but not bad. All right, let's try that again. Good, and then turn, let her go. Good. Whew. Now 3. Just try to hit that tee. Don't even look at the ball. Loosey-goosey. Balance, let her go. Nice, great swing. Club face was open, but that was really good. Okay, now with your grip, we're gonna turn this hand over just a little tiny bit more, just a little bit.
Okay.
And that's just gonna help with your release.
Okay.
Okay, now same thing. Do a couple of waggles, like above the ball, just kind of like here. Good, now place the club behind the ball, feel athletic, loosey-goosey, turn, let her go. Oh, close. Same thing, a little toey. And so that's your arms kind of tightening up and pulling in rather than the propel out and letting it go. Good swing. All right, 86 miles per hour, better. Close. We got 160 carry on that one. We'll close club face. That's slightly early. Ooh, 89. Getting closer. So it should be even pressure in your heels and toes, just like the balance pod. So you want to pretend you're standing on those balance pods in your setup position.
Okay.
And then now just relax, and then turn and swing your arms away from you. Feel balanced. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. That was close. I like the launch. Now you gotta hit that tee a little crisper, and we're golden.
Yeah, hit the ball.
Oh, come on, we gotta get past 90.
Yeah.
Good job though, not bad. Nice. 161.
Contact was a little better, I think.
Yeah, 170 for that one, not bad.
Ooh,
91,
91.
Let's go. Okay, we're getting closer. Okay, early. Okay, so that's like a rush transition. So
Okay.
actually here, I'm gonna give you, where's that little training aid guy? That's called the one club. And what it is resistance bands and weight. And what we need to do is swing this hard enough that these resistance bands go out and hit the edge. What we're doing is looking for when it clicks. So with your early release, your tendency is to make it click. It'll be kind of back here, so it'll be like that, where we want to shift, turn, and make it click more out here. So now, where did that click? Way back here. All right, so now try to make it click a little bit later. Now, closer. And you gotta swing your arms underneath of this.
Okay, so here.
Yep, and then
Okay.
under. There you go. Okay, good, but a little early. So feel a tiny bit of a shorter backswing and then turn and click out there. Better. Very nice. Now, try that same feeling. Ooh, closer. Still a little mishit on the contact, but good swing. So, once again, you're trying to hit a ball. I want to see that tee fly in the air.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we got to get more of that precision. So we're going under, turn and smash that tee. Let her go. Nice. Oh, 164 carry. We're closer. Swing, let her go. Oh, close. All right, we got 170 at least for you. Not 190. That's going to be a little bit more challenging.
I know I was giving myself a hard time, a hard go.
It's all good, but key thing we're working on is controlling your low point, releasing the club at the right time. We move the ball more forward, but we're seeing your angle of attack get more down. Nice.
Slow down a little bit.
Yeah, good rhythm and tempo, good controlled low point. Nice compression. I like it. Okay, so now that one, let's use that as an example. Okay, so that one you hit 6 degrees down, beautiful club path, good face angle. Your club speed was actually slower, but you hit that a little bit further than your previous swings. And the reason why is because we got a good controlled low point, the shaft was leaning forward, and we carried it before you're carrying like 145, 150, that one you carried 157. So now if we can get you to do that same feeling, but then get your club head speed up to that 90 miles per hour that you're capable of, that's then all of a sudden we're gonna see yourself now fly it more like 170, 175-ish, right?
Spinning.
Yeah, not bad though. 89, close. Oh, close. All right, so now let's look at the main changes that we made. All right, so looking at your swing before in the video on the left, we had a lot of weight on the toes of your feet. So step number one for us is getting yourself in a more balanced state. So if we draw this line here, you can see how you're way over on your toes. Where we draw this line, you can see yourself sitting back a little tiny bit more. So you can see this with the heat map of your feet with the pressures in your dots. Here they're on your toes. Here you're much more kind of the middle arch of your feet. So that's going to be very important in regards to the foundation of your swing. Second thing that we focused on is we got a little tiny bit of a wider stance, nothing crazy, but just a good stable base. We got one inch wider, but really all it was getting ourselves to be able to feel softness and looseness in our wrists as we're reaching up to the top of the backswing so we can increase our levers coming down. So what you'll notice is that when you transition in your downswing before, you would start to unhinge your wrists really early. So you can see that right here with your hands over top of your trail leg, that you're unhinging your wrists really early. The reason why that's happening is because when you're creating your peak horizontal force. So when you're at the top of your backswing, here you're only creating 71 pounds of horizontal force. This one, we're now creating 138. So you doubled the amount of horizontal force you're creating because we're in a little bit more, as you can see here with the right hip, right knee, a little bit more of an athletic state comparison to yourself here. And so what that then allows for yourself to do is be able to push, shift, and turn a little bit better. So you'll see as you're coming down with your hands over top of your trail leg, we have a much better lever system with your wrists. So the angle between your right forearm and the golf club is right there where we look at your swing before. With your hands over top of your trail leg, you can see yourself losing that wrist angle a little bit sooner. And then you'll see yourself when we come down and through the impact position, we're getting much better rotation with your body. So we're starting to see a two cheek position as you're coming down and through the impact zone, where here we're not turning. You're also seeing yourself staying in a much better posture and stability through your swing, comparison to this one, how you're kind of scrunched over and not really staying dynamically balanced. You can also see this with your pressure trace, how it's a nice general arc here, where here it's kind of a little zigzaggy as you're going through. And that's because your hands and arms are going much faster on the video on the left than your body. Where the video on the right, we're seeing it kind of more sync up, where the right shoulder, hip, and knees turning and driving through the golf ball. Really nice thing here, we're getting a little bit more daylight with your arm as well, where here your arm's kind of more tight and kind of bunched in. And so that's that turn and propulsion that we're looking for, rather than you're pulling in because you're kind of a little bit out of balance, where this one we're actually able to throw the club more away from you. So we saw yourself, a couple key things we saw. We're seeing a much better angle of attack. So your angle of attack before wasn't really down very well. You'll see that with the launch monitor data here. With your club data, your angle of attack was 3 degrees down, club speed was 83. Decent smash factor in regards to it. And then we look at your launch monitor data here. Your club data, we're now 87, so we increased 4 miles per hour. We're seeing your angle of attack get more down, which is lovely. This one we didn't quite hit off the center, we hit a little toey. So that's where we see the smash factor and the ball speed go down a little tiny bit. But we see a much better forward shaft lean, better weight shift and rotation. So main fundamentals for you. One is feeling a little bit more balanced athletic state in your setup. 2 is when you're swinging over the top, feeling that athleticism up at the top of the backswing so you can turn and drive and kind of body check that wall. And then the third thing we do is softness with your hands and arms, allowing for them to swing freely so you can propel them out and away from your body rather than tightening up and pulling in. And so there you're doing a much better job of staying balanced for your swing. You're able to create more speed and power with your swing, which is awesome. Now, not quite 94 miles per hour. We can dream. But I do feel we had a couple swings where you're up at 90 miles per hour. I feel like that's a very reasonable goal for us. But I believe that the main focus for us should be that you're soft and relaxed with your arms, let your body lead the way and then propel, which is now what you're doing, because we're seeing the forces happen before you're swinging your hands and arms, where before it was your hands and arms were doing all the motion. And you can see that right here on the left, like right here, your hands and arms are going and then your horizontal spikes, where the video on the right, we see you're spiking right away as you're starting your hands and arms. So then you're getting the proper sequencing and the proper forces happening in your swing. So awesome job. Yeah, I'd love to help you out further.
Yeah. 好，那略微有点遗憾啊，并没有达到今天的这个目标，但是呢，我至少有一杆挥速是达到了90，而且我觉得我的这个提前释放明显是有所改善的。回去只要勤加练习，我相信啊，很快是能达到这个目标的。那如果大家想找 Patrick 教练来上课，或者是对 Swing Catalyst 想进一步了解的话，欢迎在视频下面留言，或者是去老那高尔夫的官网上找到我的联系方式。我已经跟 Patrick 教练约好了，过一段时间会过来再次找他指导我一遍，相信下一次我一定能达到这个目标。All right, thank you very much.
No worries. Thanks for coming on, buddy.
See you. Hopefully we'll see you soon.
Absolutely. We'll see if we can get you all the way up to that 94.
Yeah. Next time, I believe I'm able to do that. Next time.
It was a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you so much.
No worries. Have a
Take
good
care.
one. You too.